Man, the moment that first grenade went off, all the comfort, all the drama, all the fake confidence we built up watching war movies in the common room got blown to pieces. It didn't even feel real. Just a violent shift from chill to chaos, like someone threw your soul into a furnace and locked the door behind you. 1 second we were bullshitting like we had control. The next we were in the middle of some no warning hellscape. Lights flashing, instructor screaming, gunfire cracking the night open, and Psycho Pete looking like he just broke out of a mental ward, veins popping from his neck, eyes bulging with joy while he lit us up with commands. Hey, move your sorry asses. And we moved, no hesitation, not because we were brave, because we were scared shitless and had no idea what the fuck was happening. We ran into the dark like blind rats, heart in our throat, fear chewing on our ribs, and deep down, some part of us knew this was it. Not pretend, not training, not drama. This was the beginning of something that would either build us into monsters or leave us broken in the dirt. We hit the grinder like it owed us something. Cold ass night air cutting through our gear, fog rolling in like ghosts coming to watch the show, and the asphalt was soaked in pain. You could feel the history of it. The blood, the puke, the quitter's tears ground into the cracks over decades. Psycho Pete stood there like a demon conductor, barking orders in that weird calm surf dude meets serial killer tone. Welcome to Hell Week, he said, all casual like we were about to sip smoothies. But there was nothing smooth about what came next. They had hoses ready. Push-ups, flutter kicks, dive bombers, sit-ups, shit that didn't stop, shit that didn't make sense, shit designed to break your mind. Water everywhere, freezing, salty, sharp. We were slipping, sliding, screaming, eyes burning, muscles locking up, and it was only the first fucking hour. The instructors were laughing like they were watching stand-up comedy. This was their favorite part, the start of the culling. They knew some of us wouldn't last past sunrise. And they were right, because when that brass bell rings, it don't lie. It don't care about your dreams. It only tells the truth. You start to learn fast that there's no such thing as pacing yourself in Hell Week. You either go all in or get the fuck out. There's no middle lane. No room for I'm tired. No sympathy for I didn't expect this. It's designed that way, to rip your identity from you and see what's left. You show up with all your titles, your fake toughness, your gym gains, and within hours, all that shit gets melted off your bones. And what you're left with is the real you, not the one you post on social, not the one you brag about to your boys. The raw, crying, panicking animal underneath. That's the battlefield. It ain't in the ocean or on the sand. It's between your fucking ears. That's where men live or die. That's where pain pulls the trigger. And trust me, the pain comes fast. It don't wait for weakness, it creates it. I watched guys twice my size crumble in the sand like overcooked meat. Their minds shut off, their bodies followed. That bell rang. And every time it did, I smiled. Because every quitter proved what I already knew. I wasn't leaving. I'd die here before I rang that fucking bell. That grinder became my altar, my personal sacrifice zone. I wasn't there to train, I was there to burn. Burn off everything soft, everything weak, every excuse I'd ever clung to. I knew what was coming. I'd already tasted Hell Week once. I didn't quit, but my body gave out. Double pneumonia. Docs pulled me. I fought them, but they forced me out. That failure stuck in my teeth like a rotten piece of regret. So this time I came for revenge. Not on the instructors, on myself. On every version of me that ever settled for average. When we got hosed down and rolled in sand until we were crusted like deep fried corpses, I didn't flinch. When they screamed, get wet and sandy, I was already in the water before they finished. Because I didn't need to be told twice. I was there to own the suffering. Every wave that crashed over me was another chance to prove I belonged. And yeah, the pain was constant. But so was the purpose. I didn't want to pass. I wanted to dominate. I didn't want to survive. I wanted to haunt those instructors when they went home at night. I wanted them thinking, what the fuck is wrong with that guy? And I wasn't alone. Boat Crew 2. Misfits, maniacs, and monsters in the making. We weren't picked because we were the best. We were picked by height. That's how they form boat crews. Any by inches, random as fuck. But fate don't make mistakes. I got stuck up front with Freak Brown. Hard motherfucker with a chip on each shoulder and scars in his soul. Dude had been through more shit before 20 than most men live in a lifetime. cleft palate, bullied, homeless, frozen half to death on a busted 10 speed bike. He couldn't swim. Taught himself. Took 3 tries just to pass the test to get the butts. And now he was carrying a 200 lb boat on his head next to me. And I knew I had a real one. I looked at him and said, you and me, in front of the boat all fucking week. He snarled, don't call me freak. I said, then don't move. And he didn't. Not once. We carried that boat like it was made of honor. Our shoulders blistered, our backs cracked, but we held that motherfucker up like it was our responsibility to break everyone else with our effort. Man, Hell Week don't give a fuck about your plans. It don't care how motivated you were going in, how many motivational quotes you posted, or how many burpees you did to get ready. And that shit gets shredded the moment the instructors decide to take their games to another level. And they always do. This one morning, they had us on the beach after surf torture, freezing our nuts off, covered in salt and sand, shivering so bad some guys were practically vibrating. And what did they say? Run to chow with your boat. That's a mile each way. With 200 fucking pounds of rubber boat bouncing on your skull. But we didn't just run. We chased down our pain. And when the instructors realized we were still standing, still strong, still locked in, they changed the route. They tried to smoke us by making it 4 miles instead of 2. They zigzagged through soft sand, sprinted, duck walked, fucked with our pace. And guess what? Boat crew too stuck to their heels like Velcro on a mission. We weren't just keeping up. We were taking souls. They looked back expecting to see broken bodies. Instead, they saw demons coming for their pride. Taking souls isn't about ego. It's about flipping the power dynamic. The instructors start Hell Week with all the control. They own your time, your breath, your pain, your body. But when you stop reacting and start attacking, you shift that control. They scream, you smile. They ramp it up, you push harder. That fucks with them. Because now, they're not just trying to break you. They're wondering why you're not breaking. And that question, that's where their fear starts. I wanted Psycho Pete to think about me when he closed his eyes at night. I wanted him uncomfortable with how calm I looked in the worst of it. That's why I stopped huddling for warmth during surf torture. While other guys went nut to butt trying to conserve body heat, I stood by myself. Shivering, yeah, teeth chattering, sure. But I didn't move. I didn't blink. And I didn't give him the satisfaction. That silence, that discipline, spoke louder than any scream. It told him I'd die before I broke. And deep down, instructors like him respect that. They don't want average. They want unbreakable. They want to see something they've never seen before. I came there to be that thing. Every part of Hell Week is designed to strip away your identity and rebuild you from bone. The physical shit is brutal. Yeah. The log carries, the boat races, the surf torture, the endless PT. But that's not what kills most men. It's the waiting, the cold, the slow grind of not knowing what's next. You can't strategize when every minute feels like a trap. Sleep deprivation turns your mind into soup. You hallucinate. Time slows. You start questioning reality. And that's when the voices come. Not the instructors, your own. The voice that says you could be in bed right now. You could quit, no one would blame you. You've already proved something. Stop. And those thoughts, they're killers. I don't care how strong you are. If you listen to them for even a second, they'll start unpacking their shit and moving into your head. So I built a wall. I didn't let them in. I repeated one line over and over like a war chant. Not today, motherfucker. I wasn't there to prove something to the world. I was there to prove something to myself. Yeah, I didn't have a fucking quit button. Yet no matter what they threw at me, I would still be standing. Pain is the great equalizer. It don't care what color you are, where you came from, or how jacked your biceps are. It humbles everyone. But if you learn to smile in that pain and to laugh in it, you become something else. Something more. That's how I survived Wednesday night. By then we were zombies. Everything was numb. Skin raw. Minds freed. Instructors still on their bullshit. We were doing boat presses in the sand and my knee was shot to hell. Every lift sent lightning through my leg. I felt the tear. I knew something was wrong, but I didn't say a word. I kept pressing. I looked over at Brown. He was limping too. Our crew was falling apart physically, but we were locked in mentally. That was the difference. I whispered to Brown, you know why I call you freak? He shot me that look, and I grinned through blood-crusted lips. 'Cause you're the baddest motherfucker I know. His smirk came slow, and then we roared. We threw that boat like it weighed nothing. Pressed it, dropped it, pressed it again faster. The instructor stopped laughing. For the first time, I saw doubt in their eyes. That's when I knew we had them. And it wasn't just a one-time thing. That second wind, we turned it into a fucking hurricane. While other crews were crawling through evolutions like dying dogs, we were sprinting, screaming, daring the instructors to push harder. We didn't run out of energy. We fed off their hate. Every insult, every threat, every cold hour in the surf became fuel. I knew that when Psycho Pete got in his car that night, he wouldn't be thinking about the guys who quit. He'd be thinking about Boat Crew 2. About that crazy motherfucker Goggins who wouldn't go away. That's what taking souls is. It's not physical. It's psychological warfare. It's reaching into another man's mind and planting a flag that says, I live here now. That kind of dominance doesn't just win you respect. It makes you unforgettable. And I wasn't doing it for glory. I was doing it to rewrite who the fuck I was. Because years ago, I couldn't run down the street. I was 297 pounds of lies and fear. But this was the rebirth. This was proof that even if life shits on you, if you step back into the fire willingly, you can come out forged as something the world's never seen before. Eventually, they tried to isolate me again. It was too obvious. They saw I wasn't breaking. I wasn't crying. I wasn't shrinking. So they pulled me out solo, middle of the damn night, and sent me into the ocean while the rest of my crew stayed on land. They called it one-on-one time, like it was a therapy session or some shit. But I knew the truth. This was their last shot. They wanted to drown me in silence. I stepped into that cold pitch black surf chest high alone while the waves slapped me like I owed them money. And I started humming that sad ass platoon music again. And not for comfort, for defiance. Let them hear it. Let them wonder what the fuck was wrong with me. Because I wasn't breaking, I was thriving. That ocean wasn't my enemy anymore. It was my proving ground. It was washing away every excuse, every weakness, every fucking ounce of softness I had left. And when I came out of that water, I wasn't shaking. I wasn't begging. I was smiling because I knew I had taken something from them. Their doubt, their control, their comfort. I was in their heads, right where I wanted to be. But SBG, the silverback himself, wasn't done with me yet. He didn't say much, never needed to. Just looked at you and your spine straightened up. This time he tossed me a glow stick and a flotation vest, pointed out into the black, churning surf and said, go find your boat. My crew was out there somewhere paddling in the dark, no clue I was coming. No swim buddy, no lights, just me, broken body and all, swimming into the void. I could have said no, it was technically against protocol, but I didn't hesitate. I didn't flinch. I just ran into the water like a damn lunatic. The waves were massive. The cold was worse than I remembered. My knee felt like it was being stabbed with every kick, but I kept going because I wasn't about to give the devil the satisfaction. That wasn't a swim. That was war. And the war wasn't with the ocean. It was with myself. With every quit I'd ever considered, with every excuse I used to let define me. And when I finally reached Boat Crew 2, when Brown pulled me into that boat and looked at me like I was insane, I grinned through blue lips and said, that's how you lead. That moment wasn't some highlight reel flex. It was a turning point. For me, for my crew, for the instructors. That swim wasn't about surviving. It was about sending a message. And I wasn't like the other guys. I didn't come here to pass. I came here to break the fucking game. The instructors had seen strong guys, fast guys, loud guys. I wanted to show them something else. Quiet, ruthless consistency. That's what separates the hard from the hollow. Inconsistency when you're broken. When your joints are cooked, your skin is gone, and your body is done. Because anyone can show up when it's easy. It's who keeps moving when every cell says stop that matters. When I climbed into that boat, I was shivering, but my eyes were locked, and my crew, they felt it. That energy, that madness, we didn't talk about it. We didn't need to. From that moment on, we were unstoppable. We were one unit, one suffering mind, one fucking will. They threw everything at us, the demo pit, rope climbs, log carries, cold plunges, and we answered every time. Not with complaints, not with doubt, with grit, with grind, with one loud, unified message: you can't hurt Boat Crew 2. Every evolution in Buds is its own flavor of fucked up. Just when you think they've run out of ways to torture you, they invent some new flavor of hell. One of the final beatdowns was the rope bridge over the demo pit. 2 wet ropes stretched over freezing, muddy sludge, and you've got to cross it hand over hand while the instructors shake it, bounce it, try to toss your ass into the muck. Most guys couldn't even finish. Their grip failed. Their balance was gone. Hell, half of them couldn't feel their hands anymore. But when they called my name, I smiled. Didn't matter that my knee was twice its normal size or that I needed Toronto just to walk. I didn't give that rope the satisfaction. I grabbed it, locked in, and started crawling like my future was waiting at the other end. Every shake, every slip, every insult they screamed at me from the ground, I absorbed that shit like protein. Because pain is part of the process. You don't get to greatness without dragging your soul through the dirt. And I didn't just cross that rope. I fucking owned it. I fell in the mud. Yeah, but I laughed my ass off when I landed. When SBG finally stepped up and shouted, "Hell Week secure," something cracked open in that moment. 30 men left standing. Bloodied, swollen, torn up, but alive. We'd been stripped down to the studs and rebuilt in fire. And I didn't cry. I didn't drop to my knees in thanks. I stood up and scanned that beach like a damn animal. Because I wasn't done. Boat Crew 2 won every race. Didn't lose a single man. Not one. We walked onto the bus like soldiers who just rolled a battlefield. And waiting for us back at the grinder, a greasy-ass pizza and a brown t-shirt. The shirt meant everything. That brown cloth wasn't just a uniform. It was a symbol. A badge that said I survived the suck. And that pizza, it tasted like victory, like blood earned. But even while the others were celebrating, I made my way to med check, limping like a man with unfinished business. Because I wasn't here to enjoy the moment. I was here to prepare for the next war. That's the truth most people don't want to hear. There's always another war. And if you're not ready for it, it will fucking eat you alive. Even after surviving Hell Week, there was no exhale, no parade, no damn rest. Walk Week was up next, and most guys treated it like a vacation. They limped around the compound smiling like they'd already made it. But I didn't buy into that weak shit. Walk Week wasn't a break. It was a reset. A quiet moment before the next round of punishment. My body was still jacked up. My knee was a balloon filled with pain. And I couldn't even walk straight without crutches. I'd gone hard for 5.5 days without quitting. And I wasn't about to let my body start running the show now. I spent that week not just trying to heal, but to refocus. Because the truth about growth, it doesn't give a fuck what you just survived. The next level doesn't care about what you overcame. It's already looking to see if you've got anything left in the tank. And I had more. My mind was scarred, sure, but it was sharper. I felt like I'd left the old me out there in the surf. That scared fat kid, that doubter, that excuse-making coward. And the only way to stay free of him was to keep pushing. The instructors don't slow down for your limp. They don't give a shit if you survive Hell Week. They're not handing out hugs or asking how your knee feels. As soon as Walk Week ended, we went right into not tying drills. It sounds harmless, right? Like some Boy Scout merit badge shit. But this was Bud's nothing is harmless here. They tie your legs together, throw your ass in the deep end, and want to see how long you can stay calm while drowning. The pool becomes your enemy. Not because of depth, but because of what's happening inside your head. Panic creeps in. Breath shortens. Your vision narrows. That's when most people start fighting the water. And that's when they lose. You don't survive that drill by muscling your way through it. And you survive it by going still. By accepting the chaos. That's what made it beautiful. The same dudes who could deadlift 600 pounds tapped out in 5 seconds. Meanwhile, I was holding my breath and holding the fuck on. It's because that's what Hell Week taught me. Chaos isn't the enemy. Comfort is. I wasn't trying to float. I was trying to prove to myself that I could breathe underwater if I had to. Every new drill, every new evolution was just another opportunity to bury the old version of me and the one that didn't believe, the one that quit everything he started. Before all this, I was a kid running from responsibility, from pain, from expectations. But now I ran toward it. The instructors noticed too. I wasn't the strongest or fastest guy in the class, but I had something most of them didn't. I'd been broken before. And I came back. That's the most dangerous kind of person. Not the one who's never fallen. The one who fell, bled out, got laughed at, and then returned stronger. That mindset. That's what separates survivors from savages. So every time we got thrown into the fire, I smiled. I didn't love the pain. I respected what it gave me. It gave me identity, purpose, power. These guys were trying to pass buds. I was trying to kill every version of me that ever played small, every version that ever looked in the mirror and didn't like what he saw. And when I started to see a man staring back that I actually respected, that's when I knew I wasn't just passing. I was transforming. You learn more about people when they're sleep deprived, cold, and scared than you ever will in conversation. Pain exposes truth. It shows who leads, who hides, who talks, and who actually walks. I saw guys who barked all the time in the barracks shrink when the surf hit them. I saw quiet killers rise when the pain got unbearable. That's what I loved about Buds. It stripped the masks off everyone. No more flexing, no more reputation. Just raw truth exposed in salt, sand, and suffering. And I didn't need to be the loudest in the room. I just needed to outlast them. Some guys showed up trying to impress the instructors. Not me. I wanted to be the guy they couldn't figure out. The one they whispered about after shift changes. Hey, Goggins is still in. How the fuck is he still in? I didn't crave applause. I craved mystery. Because when people can't figure you out, when they can't understand how you're still standing, they fear you. And that fear, that's a weapon. That's another soul in your pocket. Taking souls isn't about domination. It's about outlasting every expectation they ever had for you and making them question if they ever had the right to judge you at all. Every man hits that one moment in training where he wants to quit. No exceptions. I don't care who you are. You could be a savage, an athlete, a legend, but that moment still comes. For me, it came late one night. Body shot, mind hazy, chest tight. I was sitting alone in the corner, and for just a second, I heard it. That little whisper, you could just stop. And in that moment, I didn't argue. I didn't scream back. I just sat with it. Let it talk. Because pretending the voice isn't there is bullshit. Everybody's got it. But what separates warriors from quitters is what happens next. I let it talk. Then I stood up and said, "Not today, motherfucker." And I walked right back into the pain. That's the skill no one wants to train. And mental override. The discipline to stay in hell just a little longer than the man next to you. That's where greatness lives. Not in hype. Not in motivation. In decisions. Small, savage-ass decisions made when nobody's watching. That's the shit that makes you unbreakable. And I didn't just want to finish Buds. I wanted to finish it as a man that hell itself couldn't fucking move. The farther we got into training, the less the instructors yelled. And that silence. That was the real mindfuck. It meant we weren't worth the noise anymore. We were either proving ourselves or quietly falling apart. And that's where the game went internal. And no barked orders, just your thoughts. That's when I started noticing guys cracking in ways they didn't even see. Little shit, they get sloppy tying knots. They start looking around during log PT. And their eyes told you everything. They were somewhere else. They were in their heads negotiating with pain, looking for a way out without ringing the bell. But that's not how this works. You either take control of your mind or it becomes your executioner. Every evolution became a test of mental clarity, not just strength. I knew if I stayed focused, I could outlast them all. Pain had become a language I understood. It didn't scare me anymore. It centered me. It gave me something to lean on. And when things got the worst, when the bone-deep fatigue kicked in, I'd remind myself, this is the price for becoming uncommon. Most people can't afford it. I was already paying in full, and I wasn't done yet. Eventually, I started to feel like I was training for more than Navy. Like this shit was bigger. Because every day was a lesson I carry into every part of life. Every time I tied that knot underwater with burning lungs, I wasn't just learning technique. I was learning how to stay calm in chaos, how to execute with precision when my body was screaming. That kind of skill translates. In life, people think success is built on hyper passion. But fuck that. It's built on execution under pressure. And you only get that by practicing suffering. That's what Buzz was. Reps in the dark, reps in pain, reps in silence. Most people live their whole lives avoiding discomfort. I was building a relationship with it. I wanted it around. I needed it. Because when you run from pain, you're giving it power. But when you face it, own it, speak to it, something shifts, you stop being a victim. Here you become the operator. And once you flip that switch, you're no longer reacting to life. You're controlling how you move through every storm. That's what I came for. Not just a trident. I came to become a fucking weapon. We were deep into second phase by then, the dive phase. It's a whole different animal. You're underwater in the dark, breathing through gear that's built to fuck with you. And the instructors are right there waiting to mess with your setup mid-dive just to see if you'll panic. They don't tell you when. They just rip off your mask, spin your hoses, and let you fight for air. That moment. That's where most guys drown in their heads before they ever drown in the water. They claw kick, twist up in their own gear. But I've been waiting for this. I wanted the chaos. I welcomed the panic. Because that's the shit that separates the talkers from the killers. I didn't rush to fix anything. I moved slow with purpose, like I had all the time in the world. Even when I couldn't see. Even when the clock was ticking and my air was low, I stayed in control. Because I trusted myself. That's the real win in this type of training. You don't just learn tactics. You build internal trust. You become the kind of person you can rely on when the lights go out. And that's rare as fuck in this world. There was one moment during that dive phase I'll never forget. They just tore my gear apart underwater, and I was fighting to reassemble everything with my lungs screaming. I felt the panic rise. That sharp, cold feeling like death's fingers brushing your chest. But instead of letting it take over, I smiled. I literally smiled underwater. Because that moment, right there, was everything I came for. That moment wasn't about surviving anymore. It was about controlling the uncontrollable. That's what most people never understand. You don't win by being lucky. You win by being prepared for the storm before it comes. I'd suffered enough that fear didn't own me. Not anymore. I reassembled my gear like a machine, kicked off the bottom, and surfaced clean. No flailing, no drama, just calm. The instructors didn't say shit, but I saw their eyes. And that was enough. They couldn't break me. And I realized right then that the strength I had built wasn't just for training. It was for life. For every moment after this. I didn't need permission to endure. I didn't need applause. I just needed to keep showing up when everything in me said stop. And that's exactly what I did. The worst thing about becoming hard is that you start noticing how soft the world really is. Once you've suffered on purpose, once you've chosen to walk through hell, regular life starts to feel like a padded cell. People complain about being tired, about their job, about traffic. And I'm just standing there thinking, you have no fucking clue what tired feels like. You want to see tired. Try going 5 days without sleep while freezing, bleeding, puking, and still being expected to perform like a savage every hour. Try diving in pitch black water while your lungs are burning and your mind is begging for oxygen. That's tired. Everything else, that's just noise. That's why I stopped trying to fit in. I wasn't built for comfort anymore. I was built for edge, for push, for hunger. And if that made me an outcast, so be it. Because I'd rather be alone with my truth than surrounded by people drowning in their own lies. That's what suffering gives you. Clarity, the kind you can't buy, fake, or borrow. You want peace, earn it through pain. You want pride, bleed for it. There's no shortcut. There's just the path. And your decision to walk it or not. Man, it's crazy what the human body can do when the mind finally shuts the fuck up. That's one of the biggest lies we're fed growing up. Days that you're only capable of what feels safe. Bullshit. Safe is a cage. Most people never even touch their potential because the moment pain shows up, they retreat. But if you lean into it, if you treat suffering like a skill, your limits start to evaporate. That's why by the end of Buds, I wasn't just enduring anymore. I was chasing more, chasing failure, because I knew real growth lies beyond the edge of what feels possible. So when we had our last few monster drills, endless miles of soft sand runs, rucksack marches, obstacle courses with time limits designed for freaks, I went all in. Didn't pace. Didn't conserve. I attacked each one like it owed me something. And yeah, my body was hanging by threads, but my will, it was titanium. I wasn't proving anything to anyone at that point. I was becoming a living example that there are no natural born warriors, only forged ones. And the furnace is built from discipline, pain, and a refusal to fucking quit. The final weeks were all blur and brutality. The third phase hit hard. Land warfare, tactics, patrols, but by then we were ghosts, not dead. It's reborn into something else. We moved like units. I thought like predators. No one had to yell anymore. The suffering had taught us discipline, and discipline became instinct. Wake-ups at 0 dark 30, no complaints, loadout drills in silence. Hiking out to the range with full gear, knees aching, shoulders torched, it didn't matter. We'd go all day shooting, crawling, moving, while instructors waited for signs of weakness. But there weren't any left. Not in us. We had killed off our excuses. There was nothing to threaten us with. That's the power of choosing hell. Once you've owned your worst day and smiled through it, everything else feels like a warm-up. People think toughness is about bravado. No, it's about peace, the kind of peace that comes from knowing you've been tested by fire and stay standing. Every bullet we fired was precise. Every rep was earned. Every inch forward was backed by 1,000 failures we refused to bow to. And I knew no matter what came next in life, I had already faced the devil and told him to fuck off. Graduation day wasn't a celebration. It was a funeral for the weak version of me. The instructor stood tall, passing out tridents, finally showing that silent nod of respect. The kind of look that says, you earned this. No words, they didn't need to say shit. I didn't need validation, I already knew what I'd become. I wasn't just a Navy SEAL. I was a product of every sleepless night, every panic attack, every bone-on-bone sprint with a boat crushing my spine. I earned that Gold Eagle anchor and tried it not just through training, but by surviving every moment in life that tried to convince me I was nothing. I looked at that uniform, held that pen in my hand, and thought about every time someone told me I wasn't smart enough, wasn't strong enough, wasn't enough. I thought about being 297 pounds, scrubbing fast food off cockroach-covered floors. I thought about my abusive father, about racism, about every damn reason I had to fail. And then I smiled. Because I didn't fail. I didn't flinch. I fucking rose. And not because someone gave me a shot, because I took it. I ripped it out of life's hands and dared it to take it back. People always ask, what kept you going? They expect some motivational speech, some magic mantra like I had a secret no one else did. But the truth is ugly. I kept going because I got addicted to doing shit nobody thought I could do. I kept going because I didn't want to die wondering who the fuck I could have been. I kept going because every time I quit something, I saw the same weak, broken face in the mirror, and I got tired of seeing that coward stare back. There's no cheat code, no easy way. The only thing that keeps you going is just deciding that there is no other option. You either commit or you don't. You either show up when it sucks or you get left behind. That's it. People think I'm angry. Nah, I'm clear. I've just cut out the bullshit. I don't make deals with pain. I invite it in, offer it a seat at the table, and then I outlast it. Because that's all pain is. Time, it passes. But if you quit because of it, that regret, that shit stays forever. So I made a promise I'll die before I quit. And I still live by that today. If you're reading this looking for a motivational high, save your time. This isn't about inspiration. This is about confrontation. You look at your life, your habits, your lies. Where are you still hiding? Where are you still negotiating with mediocrity? You think I'm special? Fuck no. I'm just honest. Brutally honest. I looked in the mirror and called myself out before anyone else could. Fat, lazy, weak, full of shit. That's who I was. But that's not who I stayed. I built a new version of me from scratch, with no blueprint, no support, just relentless effort and pain. And if I can do that, so can you. But don't think it comes easy. Don't think it comes with a playlist and a pre-workout. This comes with silence, sweat, and sacrifice. It comes with 4 a.m. alarms and nights you cry in the dark with no one watching. This comes with making pain your best friend and fear your fucking fuel. So ask yourself, what's stopping you from leveling up? Be real, and then do something about it. Because if there's one thing I learned in that hell, it's this. No one's coming to save you. It's all on you. Always has been. Look, man, you want freedom? Go earn it through repetition. Every rep, every mile, every painful ass step. That's your rent. And it's due daily. This world don't give handouts. It gives chances to people who create them. You want to be uncommon. Then you better stop asking for motivation and start demanding discipline from yourself. I didn't have talent. I had scars. I didn't have elite genetics. I had trauma and rage and a vision I refused to let die. I turned myself into something through sheer will. And that's the real blueprint. Put yourself in the fire again and again until you stop fearing it. Let it burn your weakness off. Let it melt away your excuses. Don't you dare wait for perfect conditions. Run in the rain. Study when you're tired. Lead in silence. That's how you create someone who can't be broken. And not through comfort, but through consistent, conscious exposure to hard shit. It's because that's the only real teacher in this life. Suffering. And if you can face it without blinking, without bitching, without asking why me, then congratulations. You're becoming the kind of person nobody can prepare for. The kind they never see coming. And the kind they can't stop. I didn't survive all that just to live a quiet life. That's another lie we're sold. That once you make it, you get to coast. Fuck that. The fight never ends. You just raise the bar. You find a new wall and punch through that motherfucker too. Because if you're not growing, you're dying. And I didn't go through all that hell just to plateau. I made a vow to outwork everyone. Not just once, not just when it's convenient, but forever. That's what scares people the most. The idea of showing up every day like your life depends on it. And you know what? It fucking does. Your peace depends on it. Your pride and your evolution. You don't build confidence by being the loudest in the room. You build it by doing shit no one else will do consistently until it becomes your new normal. I'm not lucky. I'm not gifted. I'm just willing. You're willing to suffer. Willing to stay in the dark while everyone else looks for the exit. That's what made me different. And if you want it bad enough, that's what will make you different too. But don't talk about it. Be about it. Do the work. Or step the fuck aside. I still hear the bell. Not literally, but metaphorically, that fucker's always there. Waiting, ringing for the weak. Tempting the lazy. Whispering to the average. That's why I stay moving. I keep running. Keep pushing. Because I know the bell never really goes away. It just waits for you to get tired again. And when it does, you better be ready to remind it who the fuck you are. So build your callus. Harden your mind. And do the shit that makes people think you're insane. Because sanity is what got you stuck in the first place. You want to get out. Then you need to do what no one else is willing to do. And not just once. Over and over. You need to suffer, fail, and get the fuck back up without a cheer squad. Without backup. Alone. That's where it all changes. That's where the new version of you is waiting. And the only question left is this. Are you done pretending? Or are you ready to find out what the hell you're really made of? If the answer is yes, then good. Now get to work because the clock's ticking and pain doesn't wait. Stay hard.